We
Yahoo!
are live on Facebook and YouTube, and then I am now going to try to go live on Instagram.
I take it that one gives you more trouble.
Always. Instagram, are you
It's
ready
a
for me?
difficult one. Ready? Ready?
It's ready.
Yay!
Okay, it's thinking about it. We are live on all three
Yay!
platforms. Welcome, everybody. It is so nice to see you, and it's so nice to see my friend. I'm going to do the proper intro because this is a podcast, and so we need that proper
We
intro.
must be proper.
We must be proper for
I'm all
our
about the
executive
proper.
producer. Yes, Mark
Hey, Mark.
Winter. So we are going to give it a second so we can get a couple people to know that, okay, hello, Pocket Retriever LLC. I feel like I met you guys at the NAPS conference. I can't remember if it's the same one. But yes, welcome. They're on Instagram. We have a couple people on Facebook and YouTube too. So welcome to Covered in Pet Hair, a boozy show for pet lovers on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Isabel Alvarez-Arata, and today I have the pleasure of having a drink and a chat with a friend of mine who also happens to be my go-to cat behavior expert. I will tell you all about her and introduce you as soon as we come back from these messages from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere because there's no sponsors at this very second. That's for the podcast. So now we need to do a proper intro. Welcome back to Covered in Pet Hair. I'm your host, Isabel Alvarez-Arata, and today I have the pleasure of having a drink and a chat with a cat mom to 11 cats. They are Baka, Galway, Deadpool, Paws, Harley, Kevin, George, Peter, Chloe, Soot, and Shadow. She is also mom to human-grown children, Nicole, whom I happen to know and think is lovely, and a son named Cameron, who apparently has a heck of a sense of humor from what I hear.
Yes, he does. Much to his mother's chagrin from time to time.
I bet. So I think I'm going to have one of those too one day. She is the former co-founder at Cat Behavior Alliance. You probably have seen her on TikTok and Instagram giving all sorts of important tips. And you've also probably known her, if you follow her for a long time, as a former executive director of a pet sitting business in LA. Before that, she actually worked for the late Richard Simmons. May he rest in peace. And she is originally from Michigan. Currently lives in Defiance, Ohio, which, I mean, if I had to create a city, I would name it Defiance. And she is the cat behavior specialist behind the newly founded The Cat Behaviorist. She is Linda Hall. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Thank you for joining me. I had a cancellation and I immediately thought I need my friend and cat behavior
I will be your
expert.
plan B anytime, baby.
Yes, thank you for stepping in. I'm going on vacation next week and I'm going on vacation for a while. So I didn't want to go before I had an amazing episode to put a little pin on it for the summer. But I am so excited that you're here because cats are getting their due. Cats are becoming more popular, but also cat people are being born. So I feel like they need some guidance as people are starting to really like cats, really want cats, but they are not yet ready to share their lives with cats. But before we get into all that, I want to introduce our drinking game today. So anytime that at those at home, anytime you hear my guest's name, her first name, you're going to take a drink of whatever you're enjoying. But please be over 21 in the US to partake. Never drink and drive and always drink responsibly. So again, you can see her name on her StreamYard, but anytime I say her name or she speaks of herself in the third person, you're going to take a drink. And we're going to start by saying that you've been on the show before. Mm-hmm. You've been on the show at least once, and then we've done like stuff together, so that's how we know each other. We were at CFA last year at the International Expo and Cat Show and Expo, so we have had many a drink together. So what are you having today for our chit chat?
So I am not a mixologist, so we're having a Chi-Chi's Long Island iced tea that of course is in a cat glass because that's the only way we drink anything.
Wow. So she is I mean, it is 5 o'clock where you are.
It
So,
absolutely is. Yes.
so it is time for a Long Island iced tea. I love that so much. I'm actually having what I call a peachy keen. And it is peach schnapps and vodka and a little bit of peach nectar. And I have called it that because I call my nephew Peach Keen. And I don't know why I call him that. It's the most ridiculous name for a toddler, but every time I see him, I go Peachy Keen. So this is to Peachy Keen and to you for being my guest. Cheers.
Yay! Cheers, baby.
Nicole is joining us. She says hi. She says she's so excited.
Hi,
Seth says this is awesome. Thank you, Seth. I think so too. Hi there, ladies. Hi, everybody. Comment if you're on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. I should be able to see your posts. And always, we start with a game on this show. That's just how we do. And because you are like the epitome of knowledgeable when it comes to cats, I thought the only thing I can do is have you compete with artificial intelligence. So this game is called Linda. This game is called Linda versus AI, kind of like man versus the machine, but Linda versus AI.
All right, we're ready.
So I'm going to give you the question and you're going to answer it. And I'm going to see if AI and you are on the same page.
Okay.
Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do
Born
this.
ready.
Yes, you were. You could do this in your sleep. Chat GPT ain't got nothing on Linda Hall.
That's right. That's right.
All right, let's do this. Why does a cat suddenly zoom around the house at night?
Usually sunup and sundown is when they're crepuscular, right? They wake at dusk and dawn to go hunt. So they get this big spurt of energy because that's when they're going to go out and hunt the little critters at night. Poor little critters. All right.
AI is 100% on board. I want you to know that it's almost the exact same answer.
That's funny.
Cats are crepuscular, meaning they're naturally more active at dawn and dusk. These zoomies are a way to release pent-up energy.
Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing because I was so close. Perfect. And the reference there is American Association of Feline Practitioners. So you know as much as veterinarians who specialize in cats. Okay.
Cats are my life, baby.
Next, true or false? A cat purring always means they're happy.
False. They can purr if they're ill to heal themselves, and they can purr if they're scared or nervous because they're faking it, right? You know, like when we've had a really crappy day and we go out in public and go, "I'm great. How are you?" Yeah, yeah, they do that.
That's exactly right. While cats often purr when content, they may also purr when frightened, in pain, and this is new to me, even while dying. It can be a self-soothing behavior.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
They purr at a similar hertz. You know, physical therapists use those ultrasound machines to help repair tissue and stuff. They purr at a similar hertz. The thing back in the day, like Little House on the Prairie Day, if you broke a bone, old Doc Baker would tell you, bring your cat in and let them sleep with you because those purrs help heal us.
Yes, they do. I love that. And my cats, I have like an emotional support cat, like an unofficial, and he knows exactly who needs the purrs and he goes right there to them. And I love that so much.
Yes.
Well, this is the part that really gets hairy or furry or fuzzy or whatever you want to say. Why might a cat suddenly start peeing outside the litter box?
Oh my gosh. All right. It could be that the litter box isn't big enough, or the placement is in too high of a traffic area or a corner where they feel like they're going to be trapped. The litter substrate could be too rough for those paws. They've got a lot of nerve endings on those paws. If they are ill, cats will often go outside of the litter box, which this is one of those things that I don't know how cats know this, but they know this because in nature, they all have a communal potty. So if they're sick and they go there, they're going to spread disease. So I don't know how they know to do this, but they want to avoid the box when they're ill to stop spreading disease.
Makes perfect sense. And you way beat AI on this one.
Well, I was gonna say there's also litter box bullying if a cat's resource guarding and they're scared to get in it. I mean, there's
so many reasons. Okay, AI says inappropriate elimination is often due to a urinary tract infection. Could that be true? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Stress.
Mhm.
Yes, because
Yeah.
bullying would fall under that.
Yep.
Or dissatisfaction with the litter box's location or cleanliness. So, yes,
Absolutely.
those are all true, but you weigh expanded, so you
Yeah,
win the
and if
AI.
they've got a UTI, I mean, if you've ever had a UTI that burns and it's miserable, so if they step in there and it hurts, they don't wanna step in there because obviously the box is painful, right?
Yeah, the box made it happen. The
Yeah.
box made it hurt, not the
When I go
bacteria
urine, peeing
growing in your
hurts, so
urethra.
therefore I'm
Yes,
not gonna go in there anymore.
exactly. All right. True or false? Declawing is a harmless way to prevent cats from scratching furniture.
Declawing is the amputation. If you are okay with me cutting your finger off at the knuckle, then yeah, go ahead. I will tell you, my son-in-law was diabetic and he lost all the toes on his right foot many years ago. True story. And he would get these horrible phantom pains. And the doctor said, we don't remove the nerves, we cut the nerves, okay? And nerves have a memory. So he said for the rest of his life, he's likely to have these phantom pains. So we often find that declawed cats have problems using the litter box. They're in
Because of
pain.
pain.
They're in pain.
Okay, so I'm so
Cool.
relieved that AI agrees with you. It didn't say anything like it was very diplomatic,
Mm,
but declawing is an amputation. It didn't mince words that
yep.
can lead to chronic pain, behavioral issues, and is considered inhumane by many veterinary organizations. So we're going to give you an A plus and AI an A plus for not beating around the bush on this one.
Yes. Yeah.
Do not declaw your cats, period. End of story. If you don't want an animal that scratches, maybe a cat's just not for you because they do need to scratch. And it is something that we're going to talk about. But if you are so attached to your couch that you would amputate an animal's paws, please do not get that animal.
Yeah. There are so many other things you can do to stop that. But also, I had a client once that she was immunocompromised and her cat kept having had anxiety attacks and would scratch her and dig into her. So her vet, only because she's immunocompromised, decided he would go ahead and allow this declawing because she can't afford to get scratched. So the cat started biting her. The problem's the problem. Fix the problem. Don't chop off their toes, right? Like, are y'all better now?
I have no words. I have no words. God, you see, I have no words. What does it usually mean if a cat slowly blinks at you?
So it's kind of an I love you. What it is cats will not take their eyes off of their prey because if they do, they might miss it. And if they sense a predator, they are not going to take their eyes off. So when they're blink, they're saying, I trust you enough because cats don't have to blink, right? They've got a third eyelid. They never have to blink. It's a purposeful thing. So when they do that, they're saying, I trust you and accept you. I can take my eyes off of you. I
So
love the slow blink. It's one of my,
romantic.
I
It's
know,
so
it makes
romantic.
my heart pitter patter.
According to AI, slow blinking is a cat's way of saying, I trust you. You guys are so on the same page. You are a machine woman. Try slow blinking back. It's like a kitty
Yes.
kiss.
Yes, and I tell people to do that if they've got a new cat in and the cat's, like, nervous about that. I tell them, "Just look at them and just"
Does it
so
work
that
on
you're
husbands
telling
too? Does
them.
it work on husbands
I don't know.
when they're like feeling a little ignored? Can I just slow
You need to
blink
try
at
that.
him?
Try that with Chris, see what he does.
He'll probably be like, is something in your eye? What is
Yep.
going on with
You
you?
need something? You need eye drops?
Well, I slow blink at my cat all the time, and we have like our moments. And I think my husband gets a little jelly, so we're gonna start slow blinking at him too. Because the
There you
cat
go.
is my cat. Like he loves everybody, and he like plays, but he like everybody knows that
That happens.
he's obsessed with
That
me.
happens. Yep.
I mean, can you blame him?
No. I'm
Okay, here we
obsessed with you
go.
too.
This. Thank you. This one's a really good one because it follows up on our decline conversation. True or false? If a cat scratches your furniture, it means they're misbehaving.
Not at all. It is a natural instinct. They are no more misbehaving than if you got up and were thirsty and took a drink of water, you're misbehaving. They've got to take care of sharp keeping those claws. They're manicuring themselves and they also have scent in their pads that they are placing on things. Now, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to put up with them scratching up your furniture. There's things we can do about that. But again, you can't punish them for getting a drink of water when they're thirsty, right?
Yeah, it's the most natural behavior for them. And I have a
Absolutely.
couple comments here I want to acknowledge. Lori Christine says the Paw Project works to educate people about decline and to stop the practice. So, yes, the
God.
Paw Project, keep up the great work. And then Seth
Yeah.
says if your cat gets out, it can't defend itself if it's declawed, which is very,
Absolutely.
very, very accurate.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. Thank you guys for
And
contributing
they
to the
will
conversation.
feel less able to defend themselves. And that is a recipe for a behavior problem.
Correct. So they're going to just always be defensive, even if they're not out in the wild. They're going to be defensive in your house because they are
Absolutely.
in pain. They feel like they can't, they are aware that their claws are gone. And now they're going to be maybe overcompensating for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Why does a cat need with its paws on soft surfaces or people? Why do they make biscuits?
It's a comforting thing. All right, picture the baby with mama. We need to get that milk in, and they nurse. And I have a few cats that you put a fuzzy blanket on the end of the bed, which there's one all the time. They'll put it in their tooth and do this number. It's a throwback to the warmth and the comfort of mom. It's like retreating to your bed and sucking your thumb for
Who told you about that?
oh, it was me. Oh, you too?
I didn't suck my thumb as a kid. I sucked this finger, which is really odd. And apparently they saw it in the ultrasound. So I was like doing that in the womb. And I did it until I was 8 years old. So
Nicole did this, and we got one of the ultrasounds that are doing this, and I was like, she's sucking her whole fist. And yeah, she
yeah.
never sucked her thumb, she sucked her fist.
Yep, yep. And again, 8 years old. My 7-year-old doesn't have any habits like that, thank goodness. I am his comfort blanket, and
Yeah,
so he's just like
that's
always on
good.
top of me.
Yeah, nothing wrong with
Okay,
that.
so what does AI say about this? It says kneading is the behavior learned in kittenhood to stimulate milk flow, and adult cats do it when feeling safe and comforted. You guys are so on the same
I'm
page.
feeling kinda proud. I was nervous for a minute there, but all right, we're okay. We're okay.
I had no doubt. I had like literally
I'm
zero
glad you have all this
reservations.
confidence in me. She doesn't tell you before coming on what she's going to do to you. You just
No,
come in and do
exactly.
whatever's
You just have to go with it. She's like, I'm competing with AI, but you couldn't have set
Yes!
me up for this.
Yes!
Okay.
Okay.
A cat flicks its tail quickly while lying down. What is this most likely indicating?
Probably watching something move. It's a little, that flick to the prey or something catching his attention, and he's like, "Ooh, what is that? I could go get that."
Okay. Well, this might be the only one you guys disagreed on.
Ooh,
Well, I
what do
mean,
they
not
say?
really disagreed on. Not really disagreed on. AI says that a quick tail flick can be a sign of irritation or overstimulation. Time to give them some space.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
Could be because you're going to end
yeah,
up turning into
definitely, yeah.
prey. You could
Definitely,
turn
yeah.
into
If
prey.
they're frustrated and they're laying there and click, click, click. I do that a lot on the Zoom calls with my behavior sessions, and the cat jumps up in the window or something, and you watch, and they're looking out and they're tapping. I'm like, "Have you got cats outside or something's
Yeah.
irritating him." But yeah, it's usually started by prayers. But yeah,
Okay. All right. So
that
50-50.
works.
We'll give AI a little
Yeah,
bonus for
good half
adding
of
to
it.
the
Yeah,
answer.
yeah. No, we'll take it.
Wonderful. Okay. So I always like to get to know my guests and figure out how you ended up being who you are today in the pet industry. So how did you go from working with Richard Simmons to then working at a pet sitting business, and then which I'm sure you was more like administrative, scheduling and things
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
and then becoming a cat behavior expert?
Yes. So, yeah, I worked with Richard for 17 and a half years, and when he was ready to retire, I was really, very unhappy because it was such a passion job, it was so much fun and it was passionate, and I got so much out of it, and I was helping people, and it felt good, and I was like, "What am I gonna do now? Be somebody's secretary? I don't wanna," So then I had a friend who owned a cats only pet sitting business, and she called me and said, "I heard Richard's retiring. Would you like to?" "Yes, please." So, and I had just started getting into the whole cat thing, and cats mystified me. So I was raised with dogs, and dogs are pretty easy to read, right? First of all, the dog is always here. If the dog's not here, you call the dog's name and the dog will be here. The tail is wagging, right? You can, you know, not so much cats. They confused the heck out of me. So as I started learning about them and that they can communicate, and like the slow blink was my first thing. And I was like, wait, what? So, it doesn't have to be as obvious. We just have to figure it out. So then I really got digging into it. So when 2020 came along and COVID and people weren't traveling, the owner of the pet sitting business decided that she wanted to go more into behavior. So we both ended up taking the course at Animal Behavior College and getting certified with honors. Thank you, thank you.
Oh yeah.
And yes, and started a nonprofit. So it was the best 5 years. We did a lot of good and we had a lot of fun, but it ran its course and I needed to get a for-profit job. So I ended up moving forward with that, but it was great 5 years. I don't regret it.
Amazing. And actually,
Yeah.
Seth says Linda is smarter than AI, and I agree. I
Oh,
100% agree. That's why I had no reservations on her acing that. I would never set my guests up to like fail at something.
no,
So
I know you wouldn't.
if I'm putting you up to this challenge, just because I know you can ace it.
Thank you, thank
So
you.
so what is the most challenging client that you have worked with as a behavior consultant?
We're
Has there
talking
been
about the
one?
client or the issue?
Well, I think they usually go together, don't they?
Not really. My least favorite issue is peeing outside of the box because, as we said, there are many possible reasons. And you can decode it, but you have to decode it. Where, when, are they peeing outside, but are they still pooping in the box? Do you have cats? I mean, there are just so many things. It can be a fun challenge, but it's not quite as cut and dry as I can. Give me an integration. I can do you in my sleep. I got this. But same
Okay.
thing and trying to figure that out. The clients, the ones that say, if you can't fix this, I'm getting rid of or euthanizing the cat. The one where one partner wants to do this and the other partner either thinks it's baloney or it's not worth it or I can't believe you're spending money on this. That's malarkey. Every once in a while, you get somebody who thinks I'm like a pet psychologist, like I'm going to lay Fluffy on the couch and say, Fluffy, did your mother love you enough? Were you breastfed as a child? Not happening, okay? It's not going to happen. That is not the case. So, yeah, or, had a guy once that said, so I can never hit the cat?
What did you say to that?
But no, you can't.
Can I punch you
Never.
in the face?
I wanted to say that. Sometimes you want to tell a partner,
You
just ditch the other partner, but you don't. You
Yes.
don't. You can't.
I
You
was
don't.
just when you said that about the partner not being on board, one of my biggest things as somebody with a husband and two kids when we first got Van Gogh and I got like this literal spiritual download that our next pet was a cat and that it was a Russian blue, which obviously it's just a gray stray cat, but the
Pretty cool.
image and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
words Russian blue came to me. I would never purchase a Russian blue. So it just kind of all came to me, but I needed to make sure that everybody else was on board. And it's because of that I feel like everything has been so positive with our experience because
Absolutely.
my husband would probably have said yes to anything.
You got a good
I
one.
needed like he probably would have been like a puppy, sure, an old cat, whatever. He just like kind of like delegated to me, but he was like on board. If he had been like, I don't want a cat, and I brought home a cat, we would have had a big issue.
Well, exactly. And then, when you have a behavior problem, and you will, even cat behaviorists who are smarter than AI, have problems in their homes. If that, oh my, now we're on the peeing and eh,
This is why I
more,
don't like cats. This is why I didn't want a cat. This is
yeah,
why you're
yeah.
always getting pets I don't want.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
tension to the marriage, but it's also tension that the cat feels. And the cat is not going to stop a behavior problem while they live with someone they believe hates them. I mean, they know.
correct.
They know.
Correct.
So, yeah,
Absolutely. Oh,
absolutely.
I'm sure there's so much tension, and the tension between the spouse is also felt by the pets, just like it's felt by the kids and all
Absolutely.
that.
Yes.
You
100%.
have to have the buy-in for sure, but you also have to kind of have the buy-in to work on it. Cause like my
Yeah.
husband has never really lived with cats. We fostered neonatal kittens. But by the time they were one, they were all rehomed and we had them in like our master bedroom. We moved out of the master bedroom so that they could run around. So they weren't really our pets. They were our fosters.
Absolutely.
And we never integrated them with our dogs. They were never in the kitchen. So now that Van Gogh is in the kitchen, stands on the counter, does all the things that dog people aren't used to, I have to remind him constantly, like, we have a cat now. we have a cat now. He has a ton of experience with dogs, but not with cats. And sometimes he'll be like, oh, I left the food out and the cat got into it. I'm like, we have a cat now, right? Like the dog, our schnauzer is not going to jump on the counter and get the lasagna, but the cat's going to eat it.
Oh yeah, in a
And
heartbeat.
the good thing is that he's open to learning that because he was on
Good.
board
Yes.
with bringing the cat in. But like, would
Yes.
he be willing to like put away the food if I had forced a cat on him? No. So it's like not just
And
like
then
that
it'd be
initial
that
integration.
darn cat ate my pizza. And then the cat's sick and has the trots because the cat ate his pizza. So
Yeah.
it's
I do have to
lose-lose kind
remind
of
Chris a
thing.
lot. The cat's been with us for like 2.5 years, and I still have to be like, we have a cat. We have a cat. We have a
Remember,
cat.
there's
I
a
have a
cat.
cat. We have a cat. It's like a song now. We have a cat. We have a cat.
Right.
But
Even
he's
rinse your sink. If you leave, you rinse the plate off and they got the junk in the sink. Yeah, cat's heads right in
well.
that sink.
We have a bunch of questions about like cat behaviors that I've noticed about Van Gogh that I want to get into. But the
Good.
biggest thing I have before we play our second game is when somebody calls you, do you have like trepidation? Do you feel like, uh-oh, what could this be and what could the outcome be? Or are you like so confident that you have the answers that you could be like, I'm up for this
Yeah.
challenge?
The only time I have trepidation is when they write at the bottom of the form, if you can't fix this, I'm going to rehome or euthanize a cat. Because if they are not committed, they're probably not going to be committed to the plan. So that's nervous making. And yeah, I have this pressure on me to fix this, or this cat is going to be sent to a shelter. And cats with behavior problems don't make it out of shelters
No.
or euthanized. So yeah, that's really the only time.
I feel like it's
I
more humane at that point to euthanize than it is to send them back to a shelter just so that they can suffer through the
I
shelter
don't
system and
disagree
then
that.
end up euthanized. It's
I don't
awful.
disagree. Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
so I have a question from Seth that says
Okay.
owning any pet is an expensive thing. Any tips for people who want a pet but are on a very tight budget? I already have an answer to that. Fostering.
Yes, fostering. Fostering is so amazing. And it's also a good thing if somebody's like, I think I want a cat. I don't know. I've never really had a cat. Like Chris, right? Like, I don't know. Called a test run, right? And then you give them back. But also, every state has low cost spay and neuter places, low cost vets, things like that that can help.
Yes.
There's all kinds of things you can do. Toys, you don't need to make a puzzle feeder. Take a cardboard toilet paper roll, put some treats in it, pinch the ends shut, and throw it on the floor. I mean, there are a lot of things that we can do. Keep
Yes.
brushing your cat, make sure the cat is eating well and drinking well to avoid medical problems, right? There's all kinds of teeth additives to help with their dental health. I mean, there's a
Yes.
lot of things we can do proactively to save us from those vet costs.
And if you have a buy nothing group in your area, I have a buy nothing group where people are like, I'm getting a pet. Do you have XYZ? And people are like,
Yeah.
here's a carrier for you to bring it home in, and here's some bowls, and here's this, and here's that. Because everybody seems to have a surplus of something, and they know that they have it, but they aren't really actively getting rid of it.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
you have a buy nothing group, they're amazing as well.
Yes.
And I know I have.
Absolutely.
He couldn't foster, he'd want to keep them all. But no, actually, I have experience fostering, and I have fostered pets that I could not wait to get rid of.
Yeah.
Like it was not a match. It was like
Yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
not a puppy person. I'm not a puppy person. I they're very, very time intensive and very attention seeking. And the two puppies I had were actually really mellow. So like I got this one puppy that I can't even remember his name. He was gorgeous, beautiful, sweet, but just like constantly on. And I fostered him short term. What I used to do was a short term fostering. So when the long-term foster would go on vacation, I would take them or
Oh,
something like that.
that's
So it was like
nice.
2
You're like
weeks or
respite
something.
care. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I could not wait for that 2 weeks to be over. I was like, please somebody take this very young, very adorable puppy to a family with a yard, or I was in a
Yes.
condo. So it was like
Yeah.
totally a mismatch. So
Yeah.
I do think that if you are looking to adopt and you want to put the time and effort into like really finding the right pet, you can foster until you fail. Like
Absolutely.
be like, I will foster. This is not for me, but I'll take them. And then the next one might be the one that you foster. 3 down the line might be the one that you say,
It
oh, you know
happens.
what? This is not leaving.
Yeah. I had a client not long ago that said she'd fostered like 52 kittens or something, in total over the years, but then she got that one that just couldn't leave. I think I could do it with
Exactly.
kittens because they're such high energy and I am just No, thank you. And so yeah, I'd be like, baby, they have that short window of time where they are just adorable and you can carry them around in your shirt before they go insane and become terrorists.
Yes, and
And
climb your
so
curtains.
yeah, yeah, I lost some blinds that way.
Yes.
And so yeah, I think I could do that. Enjoy that little, and then when they get to be terrorists, I turn them into
Yes.
someone else.
Yeah. The
I
teenage
could do
the
that.
teenage years too. I don't enjoy those particularly. Van Gogh was like 7 or 8 months, but he's always been great. He did do some scratching, which we're gonna talk about. But actually, I have a next game to play with you, and
Okay.
this is called Pet Peeves Cat Behavior Edition. So I'm gonna give you a minute on my handy dandy clock to give
Okay.
me your cat related pet peeves. And usually these fall onto the humans, right? Like most people that I play these types of games with, it's the human does this, which is a pet peeve of mine. But you can take
Uh-huh.
this in whatever direction you want.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a minute and I'm going to take notes because we're going to break
Okay.
these pet peeves
All
down
right.
as soon as your minute is up. Are
All
you
right.
ready to play?
Ready? Yes.
Let's
Yes.
go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Cat pranks. Stop pranking your cat. It's not funny. It's traumatizing. Stop jumping out of the couch from behind the couch and videoing it and putting it on social media. Stop putting up masks. Stop making weird noises. That would not be okay for you to do that to a 3-year-old. It is not okay for you to do it to your cat. I'm getting angry just down, Linda.
Dang, that did
Okay.
not take long.
That's the one. That's the one. And then yeah, it's the people who don't care enough to learn, who don't care enough to figure it out. Cats are really not that complicated. Everything they do is based on surviving for themselves and for every other cat in their family. That's really it. You just gotta learn.
You've got
Woo-woo!
20 seconds left. You've got 20 seconds.
20
Give me one
seconds
more.
left. Okay.
Well,
The
15.
anybody who adopts a cat with the notion that they could get rid of the cat. You don't get married thinking, if it doesn't work out, I'll divorce him. People do, I'm sure, but no. And you don't take in a living sentient being thinking, if it doesn't work out, I'll send it away. Especially because you probably got it when it was a cute, fuzzy kitten and everybody wanted it. And you send it back when it's 8 months, which is basically full grown looking, and nobody wants it. And it's not the
Ah,
cat's fault. Got me all
bravo.
worked up, Isabel. I don't
All
know.
right, let's all take a drink.
It was necessary.
Linda.
Oh,
I'm gonna say it
yeah.
twice so people can drink up.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I love the first one. Your first answer, which by the way, I never know what my guests are gonna say, but I kind of I assume things. That was not on my radar. Cat pranks. Cat pranks on social media, but they're like pranks on like moms too. Like I see like these like middle-aged women being pranked by like their 20-year-old son who thinks it's hilarious. And she's about to have a heart attack. But at least she knows what is happening. A cat, no idea.
Funny you say, because I've had this conversation. Yes, my 20-year-old son thinks it's really funny, and he's gotten better about it because I actually told him, look, I am not in control of myself when you do that. I am scared, and I am going to cause you not to be able to procreate if you continue doing this. So he's really let up on it because right, you're um,
I mean,
but
yes, like we have hormones, we have things happening. We are already overstimulated. The
we
mental
watch too
load
much
is out of control.
IDTV. We walk out of the room and somebody jumps out. No, thank you. But
I don't listen to like serial killer podcasts, but that would be just another like layer of like and
what's
the show
happening?
Snapped and all that people consume. So now we're ready to like pounce on anybody who like spooks us. But cats are being like how do you feel about the cucumber prank?
It's why again? Why?
But
Why
why are
scare your
cats so
cat?
scared of cucumbers?
I look, cats cannot see any better in pitch black than we can, and in daylight they are very, very nearsighted.
Got
So if
it.
there's something that could be a snake or something, I don't know what they think it is, but they don't
Ah,
know it's a cucumber. Cats are scared of anything they don't know, right? Because
right.
they are both predator and prey in nature. So they're out there killing, but they're also being killed. So they have to be wary, which is why it takes time for them to warm up to new additions to the household, human or animal or whatever. So yeah, if it's weird, I think it's got to do something with the shape or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, but and they'll put. I saw one once where they put a mask on and then jumped out at the cat. So the cat's like, "That's mom," but that's just got to be so confusing, and it will hurt your bond with them. It
Yeah.
will. if you are mean to someone, they're going to not trust you. You don't
Right.
need
Well,
that.
I think that I feel like we underestimate just how confused our pets live in our world, right? Like we just assume that they understand that that's like an expensive rug and they shouldn't throw up on it, right? Like we should just like we just think that they know it's a rug. Like why would it be there if it wasn't nice and for decor? Well, they have no idea why it's there. They know that it
Absolutely.
feels better, like they have more traction when throwing up when like on a
Absolutely.
rug, so that's why they go
Absolutely.
to it. But
Yep.
I think we forget that they're already like really kind of confused about most of the stuff in our world. So then we add a cucumber to this confusing place that's like what, and
Yeah.
then we're like shoving it in their face. And it's like, okay, now this
Absolutely.
is like we're layering all sorts of unknowns.
Mhm.
And now a mask or like jumping out or like the weird noises and like it's just
Yeah.
so cruel because when you understand that they're already not in a world that's theirs,
Yes.
then it's like, what would you do that to an infant? Would you like literally like bring an infant home from the hospital and then like put like some terrifying sound around it? No,
Yes.
like you would be like,
Absolutely.
that's pretty traumatizing. Why would I do
Absolutely.
that?
Imagine if you were like a foreign exchange student and you land and you do not speak the language, and these people are not trying to, because I've heard a few, and most of they're nice, but I've heard a few kind of freaky foreign exchange student stories. And these people just, they're nice, right? They don't hurt you and they give you food, but they walk in and out of the door and I don't know where they're going or when they're coming back. And then all of a sudden they walk into a room and they shut the light off. Oh, am I supposed to go to sleep? I never know what's happening. I would have a breakdown. Like I'm getting palpitations just
Just
thinking
thinking
about it.
about it, it's the loss
Oh,
of control. They have no
yes,
control over their environment, their life, their food, their potty. Like with dogs, I always say, like we determine when they move their bowels, for God's sakes. Like we have so much
absolutely.
control over these animals.
Absolutely. And they don't know what's going on. And again, cats are both predator and prey. So if I'm always looking for the boogeyman and I'm always on edge of trying to protect myself, and then all this weirdness is happening and I don't get it. I mean, what an awful way to live. I,
Yeah. You know, the second one you said was humans that don't want to learn, which I find really interesting that you in your position where you're charging for your expertise, you still get people who are like, "Yeah, I'm going to call cuz like I feel like I got to call, but like I'm not really committed to this."
so it's not often. And usually it's, again, the two partners, and this one isn't ready and this one is like, and so they're not going to get involved. And sometimes they won't even, like, this is a married couple and person B won't even show up for the session. And I remember saying to someone once, well, I'm sending you the video too when it's done. So if they will sit down and watch it, they won't. Okay, then I guess we're out of here.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, it's not often, but every once in a while, I got somebody who thinks that I am going to fix their cat. Um, it's about us and it's about what we do. And it's about, and I actually had somebody one day be like, she's just telling me I got to do this and this. Uh huh. Yes, you're right. I
Can I
am.
talk to your cat? Can the cat and I like put together like a Google sheet with all their to-do list? Like on
Exactly.
what planet is it going to be about the cat? Like
Exactly. Your cat scratching. I love that you said that about the rug because I had a client once. He said, I have 100 scratching posts in this house and the cat scratches the sofa. And I said, you know what your cat sees? 101 scratching posts. If it meets their needs, and sofas are da bomb because they're really sturdy, they don't move, they're tall enough, I can get a full stretch. It's amazing. They don't know that you spent $1,200 on that thing. This
they
is
don't
not a
care. They don't know
concept.
what $1,200
They are
is.
meeting their needs. Now, we can stop that, but you are going to have to do some things. You're going to have to put up the vinyl sheets, the sticky tape, or
Yes,
whatever, and provide
exactly.
them with another one and put it close and spray it with some catnip, blah, blah, blah. But yes, that is your homework to do. It's not the
Yes,
cat's homework. I'm
exactly.
not
Not
going to
the
get on and go, listen, Fluffy, you got to lay off the couch. It's
you
an
were
Ethan Allen, and it's
exactly. I love when people want a like a little magic pill. Like I force for like a second in like 2010, I decided I was going to do dog training. And it lasted a second because what I realized is that everybody wanted a magic pill that I would feed to their pet and make it just get better. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be frustrating. I'm not doing this. This feels like swimming upstream and I'm not. I'd rather walk dogs. And I just kept to the walking and dogs and taking care of the cats. Like I'm
yes.
done.
working for Richard Simmons, these people thought if they could just touch the hem of his garment, they would be healed. And and they come to you and they want you to give them this magic potion, and it's like, eat less, move more, and da da
Yeah.
da.
Yeah.
And X months have gone by and X months have gone by, and they're like, I'm still having trouble. What do you? No, it's still the same.
Yes.
And it's about you. And no shame. If you're not gonna do it, you're not gonna do it. But
Yeah, but don't pretend and don't waste my time because I feel
yeah,
like that's just like annoying for the professional who's like really giving it their all. Like when you work with animals, you really do give it your all, and it's like emotionally draining to be giving all the answers that they want. If you're a sensitive person like I think both of us are, you're giving them everything they need to do this right, but they're refusing, and you're like, this is just bringing me down. This is just like sucking
absolutely.
out all of my energy.
Well, and part of my job is, again, gathering these clues. Again, where is the cat peeing? Is the cat pooping? Do you have cats inside? Blah, blah, blah. So I get to know these cats. So I had a session today, and this little girl has a high anxiety, and she's had a really rough time, and this and that, and the other thing. And then the little boy, we got a little later, and he was really sick, and he had pneumonia, and he had stomatitis, and he had all his teeth removed. And like, I love them. I've never met these
Right.
cats. I did see him on the Zoom today, but I don't know these cats. I love these cats, and I want this to work for these cats. And so when somebody writes, "I don't have time to do that," it's like, but
Yeah.
right? Like, this bothers me. I
Yes.
now care about your animal, so you need to do this.
Yeah, and Seth says, I see it like going to the doctor. If you don't follow what the doctor tells you, then you're not going to fix the issue. And the good thing about that for us is that we're the only ones usually who suffer, right? But in the case of these humans, or like if it's me and I have children to take care of, right? Like if I don't listen to the doctor, then my kids suffer. Or in the case of your client who doesn't want to, fix the situation with the couch,
Yeah,
the cat eventually gets rehomed. So it,
yeah.
it really is so frustrating. I can't even, I
Well,
hats off to anybody who works in behavior with these pets and these pet parents who refuse to make the changes
I
they
have
need
to tell
to.
you honestly, 99% of the time, I have amazing clients who will do anything. This lady today, believe me, she's got her hands full, and she's just like, she has tried other behaviors, and she's tried all this stuff and the vets and da 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 da. And this has been going on like 3 years. And she's like, cat's not going anywhere. So let's figure this out. And
Yeah.
I think we have a really good plan, and it's gonna be
Oh,
okay.
that's
But
great. That's
she
good
of
news.
all the people who'd rehome, she's probably one that I wouldn't have judged quite as much as most people, because it'd be like, yeah, I kind of get what you're going through. But
Yeah.
no, she's
Yeah.
like, this is my living being that I brought into this house, and I'm going to take care of them no matter what. And those are the people that I love, that are just
Yes. And that actually brings us to the last pet peeve. Don't go into it thinking you can get rid of it. So, yes, I think that people impulse adopt pets, and they don't realize that just because it's a really great pet right now doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. Just because your life is, accommodating for a pet right now doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. And you have to adopt them knowing that these things could change.
yeah,
Your pet's behavior could change, your health could change, a lot of things could change, but the commitment is that you will, do everything possible
absolutely.
to meet that pet's needs, even if it is like in the case of my sister who just rehomed her dog to me because he was not a safe dog for her toddler. She did everything she could until she couldn't anymore, and then I stepped in. So it's not like I'm
Yes,
anti rehoming, but she did the right
right.
thing about really trying it out, really thinking it through. She like calls all the time. She still pays for his stuff. You know what I mean? But she found an alternative
Yes,
situation for him.
yes,
So she committed forever.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
Lori says our pets are a responsibility for their entire lifetimes. And that is exactly right.
Absolutely. And if, as I would not just, they had a stroke, right? And they can't afford to have a pet sitter come in or something. I have always said, find somebody close to you, friend, family, whatever, that will be your designated. Should I get hit by the Mack truck tomorrow, or I end up in the hospital, will you take my baby? You've got to make that plan, just like you do for your children, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
remember it was a few years ago, there was a social media family. I don't remember their name. I didn't really pay attention to them. But they had a bunch of kids, and then they adopted this kid. And it didn't go well. The kid had special needs, and they rehomed the kid basically. And the world was in an uproar. We want their head on a platter. Oh, how could you? People do this to cats and dogs every day, and they are also living sentient beings. So
Yes. Yes. And for a lot lesser things.
Uh-huh.
or inconvenience. Like I don't feel like scooping the litter anymore. So I stopped scooping the litter. My cat started peeing outside and now it's the cat's fault. Well, like
Mhm.
just scoop the dang litter.
Exactly. The
Like if
cat.
your cat was doing fine until you got lazy, then it's a you problem. And maybe you can just, find some other
Yep.
way. Like if
Yep.
it's throwing money at it, find somebody who comes in and cleans the litter box, get a
Yeah.
robot litter box. I mean,
Yeah.
I know everybody's like robot litter box is not super like ideal. I do have thoughts on that. I'm sure you do too. But if it's rehome the cat or get a robot litter box, get the robot litter
Get the
box.
robot litter box. Exactly. Absolutely. Yes.
Come
Absolutely.
on. Okay.
Get the
So
safer one, always provide another pan. But yeah,
that's
there's all kinds of things you can do. It's just not, oh, this isn't working. Bye.
yes. So you know what? For my take on robot litter boxes is that does not count as one of your litter boxes.
Absolutely.
So that's my
Absolutely. Yeah.
take. If you
I
need
will tell you, I
2
have
litter
one.
boxes for
I
one cat, you need
and on
3.
the opposite side, I have one. It's a Casa Leo. It is the only one. It is in my bedroom because I have 11 cats and there's not enough room for all the litter boxes I need. So there has to be a litter box in here. And I hate waking up at 2 a.m. to the smell of fresh baked poop. Can't
I don't
handle it.
blame you. I
So I
wouldn't
bought
enjoy
the
that
kid.
either.
But there are 10 other boxes to choose from if you don't like the robot. So
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
I always say so my I have 1 cat and I have 3 litter boxes including a robot. Okay? So for me, he has 2 litter boxes and I
Yeah.
have 1 litter box.
Yes,
Because that one's for me. That one is so that I know
it's
that
true.
there's always a clean one.
That's true. Yeah. And it's so,
There's always
if
a
they want to
clean
be in
one.
the bedroom, a lot of times cats don't want to wake up and trek out somewhere to go
Yes.
potty. So, you can use that. But not
Yeah.
all cats will use them. And they can be a good tool. I mean, for one thing, don't get the one discounted that's $100. I'm sorry, I know they're expensive, but no, those sensors can fail. My Casa Leo moves so slowly. If the sensor failed and there's no doors, nothing shutting it, it's just moving slowly. My cat's gonna get out. That's not gonna
Yes,
happen. So
exactly.
and it sends me a text and says, "Kitty just used the loo weighing 8.2 pounds." Now, when you have 11 cats, that means nothing. Okay,
Right.
I have no idea who that was. I can probably narrow it down to 5, but but if you've got 1 cat, 2 cats, this is a the loo. And
Yeah.
is the cat gaining or losing weight?
Yeah.
So there are positives about it, but yeah, it doesn't replace standard litter pans.
I agree 100%. All right. So, integration. When it comes to integrating cats, how hard is it?
It's not hard. There's a fairly simple recipe. I mean, we'll tweak according to your cat, but the whole thing is look, cats don't automatically trust anyone. They're predator and prey in nature. And if a cat comes into my territory in nature, they're not looking for mimosas and brunch honey. They're going to take all my stuff and kick my butt. So it's inherently cattish to not accept a newcomer. So we have to change their mind. Kind of like when you want Chris to do something and you try to make him think it was his idea. Yeah, that's what we do to cats. And so you want some kind of a barrier, like a temporary screen or something, so that they can have these interactions. They can be positive. We're going to do great things. So if every time I see that cat, I get this favorite treat or whatever, then maybe I'm going to like him a little bit better. And if the cat acts up and launches or something, then we shut the door and tell them time out. And they learn that's not the way to approach the other one. Now, super high anxiety cats, this can take a hot minute. But I'll tell you, I had one lady, she had 3 cats and they were all trying to kill each other. And 2 weeks later, shocked me. 2 weeks later, she sent me pictures of the 3 cats on the couch, not cuddled up, but laying peacefully on the couch
Yeah.
together. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
And
3
just did you
females,
have to
which are the hardest.
restart the intro? You just restarted the intro
Yep,
from
yep,
scratch?
yep. Tell people all the time, do not tell me this has been going on for 3 years. I know that. I know that. And I'm sorry about that. But today is day 1 because you haven't been doing this
Got it.
for 3 years.
Yes.
Today is day 1. You can't so many people, and I've been doing this. I know, but no, you haven't been doing this, that I
Right.
that I planned for you. You haven't been doing that. Today is day number 1. Let it go.
Amazing.
Yeah, fresh
Okay.
start.
You mentioned this, and I know that the 2 crazy cat ladies have been dealing with something about outside cats affecting the inside cats. Tell us about that because I don't think enough people have this on their radar.
No, you are absolutely right. And I had a client about a month ago who was feeding the ferals on her porch. Wonder why our cats are having problems. So again, I am predator and prey in nature. If a cat comes in, blah, blah, blah. So I had this happen a few years ago. Actually, my daughter's cat was 20 years old. He made it to 21. We lost him last summer. Tiger, he was the mom. Cranky, but man, he loved her. So he had lived with her forever. And he pretty much stayed upstairs all the time. He only came down a couple times a day to eat wet food, and then he'd retreat back. And once a day, he'd come down and be security guard and walk the perimeter. It was hysterical. So in the middle of the day, he walks into my bedroom. When your cat does something abnormal, pay attention. Something's up. He walked over in between the bed and the wall. He turned his butt around. He sprayed the wall and he went back upstairs. I have a forsythia bush on the opposite side of that. It blooms out. When my kids were little, they used to call it the fort. It's not picky. I had a feral family out there. I didn't know it. And I spend a crazy amount of time in that backyard in the evenings. I had no idea. None. They want to protect themselves. When you leave your home, you lock your door, right? So they've got this spot. It's great. I want to keep this spot. I got to go out and hunt. I need to lock my door. So they spray it. They mark it with their scent to let anybody who's coming know this is mine. If you come in here,
Taken.
I will harm you.
Right.
The problem is our cats inside smell that and think someone is saying, this is mine. And I'm going to take your stuff. And resources are everything to cats. You are a resource. Their food is a resource. Their litter box
Exactly.
is a resource. So they freak out. They're going to fight with each other. They're going to start peeing. They might be spraying, anything they can do to mark their territory. And two crazy cat ladies have been amazing about, I'm so proud of them because they've been amazing about really being transparent with what's going on in their household. And, people think that they're alone. Nobody has this problem because ain't nobody going on social media saying, my cats pee all over my house. I mean, these ladies have pee pads taped to the backs of their chairs because it's gotten so big. Their whole house is pee pads.
Which ones are doing it? Is it one or
Well,
two?
I
Because they
think
have
pretty
multiple
much
cats, so that's
they
hard
have
to even
5,
know.
and I think pretty much everybody has gotten in on the action at some point, but it all started with their precious Annie, who they
Yeah,
found on a bike ride one day, and
I
Annie
remember.
was dumped. She had a collar. I can guarantee you that cat was tossed out a window. She was so hard. She was under a tree, stiff with fear. They thought maybe she'd already been hit by a car, but it was just fear.
Oh,
How does she know that Jay and Adrian aren't gonna toss her out? How does she know, and
oh.
then you've got cat spraying and coming up and yeah, it's
She's
it's awful.
she's
And
a nervous wreck.
yeah, she's a wreck. And then she pees on something, somebody else feels like they have to claim that territory, and anxiety is contagious, right? If you're like this, your kids are like, what's going on, mom?
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta fake it till I make it all the time. I'm like, the airplane's like, and I'm like, it's fun.
Everything's great.
It's
To do
wonderful.
this.
You have to. Yes. So I get it. That it is contagious.
It is. Somebody else fire in a movie theater, you don't wait to smell smoke, right? You run for
No.
the door.
No,
It's
of course.
contagious. So yeah, they're getting a handle. Things are getting better. They are a complicated case because there's 5 of them
So many
involved
of
in this,
them.
but they've already made
Mhm.
so much progress, and I'm so proud of them because man, are they doing the work. And one of the really important things, if your cat is peeing in the house, you've got to clean it up with a good enzyme cleaner. Cats in nature follow their nose to know where the communal potty spot is. So if you leave the pee there, so I think it was last Saturday, like they took the day. They were like under the cabinets, and I mean, they were
Just
throwing
spraying. They've got
down
carpal
with,
tunnel for
yes,
for spraying
yes,
so much.
they were
Yeah.
cleaning their tuchuses off in that house. Found some spots they didn't know about, but yeah, we got to
Yeah.
get rid of it. So
That's what it
yeah,
is.
they're putting in the work. I cannot fault them for any of that. They are really putting in the work.
Well, you have to. You have to be committed to that, especially the second that they found that cat and they had the choice of they talked about that too. The two crazy cat ladies, Jay and Adrian, have a huge following. And when they found that cat, they put her immediately on. They said, we found this cat. We haven't decided what to do, blah, blah, blah. And it was a process. And
Yeah.
when they said, yes, we'll keep her and we'll name her Annie and all that good stuff, and post pictures of her and blah blah blah, like they were very serious about no matter what happens,
Yes.
she's ours.
Yes.
And they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Yes. They literally said at one point, they were like, well, maybe they'll grow out of it. They're just going to live with pee all over that. Now, look, you don't have to, but that level of commitment was like,
Yeah.
love them.
Well, one of the things that I feel like people need to be reminded of is, yes, veterinarian first, but it's not always due to a veterinary concern. So yes, your vet is your first place to go when the
Absolutely.
inappropriate elimination starts. But then when your vet says it's behavioral, that's when you go to somebody like Linda and you say,
Absolutely.
okay, help me. The vet gave me a clean bill of
Yes.
health. What do I
Yes.
do next? How do you
Yes.
feel about those peroxide based cleaners? I just discovered, what's it called? My cat peed or
Yeah.
something like that. How
So
do you
as
feel
far
about
as
those?
chemicals go, it's not bad. My problem with it is when you put peroxide on your boo boo, you know how it bubbles. So basically, it bubbles up and releases this gas, and it stinks. It stinks like whatever was in your couch or whatever. I was not a fan. It works. My favorite is the anti-icky poo. It's a great
Yeah,
enzyme cleaner
I
without all the
always say,
chemicals, but
I
yes,
have it
anti-icky
saved.
poo all the way.
I have it in my Amazon list, and I have some enzymatic cleaner right now, and I really don't use it much at all.
Yeah,
Thankfully, my
yeah,
pets don't need it.
yeah.
But I always say the next time I need to refill, this is the one I'm going to buy because that's what Linda recommends. And anytime somebody says something, I have realtors who've asked me, how do I clean? And I'm like, that one. So you got to send me your affiliate link from Amazon so I can just
Yes,
share that.
yes, we'll have to do that. Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you, you can use it on anything. I used to, my son that's 20, like boy hormonal feet. I'm sorry, honey, but you're coming into it, and then oh
No,
my,
all of my family's feet stink. All of them.
you're in trouble. You're in trouble with knowing
Oh,
it's teenage
no,
years.
I could use that. I can use that.
Yes, you can add it to the laundry. You can spray his socks with it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Okay, listen, I am a big fan of Rothy's, the brand of shoes, Rothy's,
Hmm.
but they're made of like recycled bottles, and unfortunately they stink. After a
Yes,
while, they stink.
absolutely.
So I'm gonna start spraying them
Yes,
with
yes.
icky poo. What is it called? Icky poo?
Anti-icky poo, and they have a scented
Anti-icky
and an
poo.
unscented. I always tell everybody get the unscented because if a cat doesn't like a scent, they'll try to cover it up, and what they cover it up with, you won't appreciate. And also, they have so much more of the olfactory sensors and can smell things. Things that smell light to us are probably obnoxious to them. So, yeah, unscented.
Okay.
Yep.
Another
Yeah, I love
another
that stuff.
recommendation, Lori Christine says Fission, two Z's, is the best pet mess cleaner and deodorizer she has found. So that's something else for us to try.
I'm writing that down.
Fission.
Thank you, Lori. I'm gonna write that down. Check it out.
Fizzzion. And
All
well, I want
right.
to wrap this up now that we're talking about cleaning. My cat, because I'm not going to have a cat behavior is on the show
Right?
and not ask about something
Of
personal. I
course.
mean, come on.
Of
So
course.
my cat loves when I clean up the kitchen, and what he wants to do is sit in the sink once it's empty. What is that about?
Things are cool. They're it's that laying on that. Wouldn't you want to lay in it? It's nice and cool, whether it's the aluminum or the porcelain, right?
Yeah.
It feels good. And yeah, once it's clean, then I take it. It's just like they line up to you to scoop the litter box. And the minute you're done scooping, if
Yes.
then go do that.
Yes.
We had a line outside the door the other day. I've been experimenting with environmentally friendly litters, and I think they're really liking this one. It's very like sand off the beach. And apparently they really like it. So they were like lined up outside the door, like, is it clean? And then they all go in and ruin up my mess. But,
That's
nice, clean space.
hilarious.
Who doesn't want a nice, clean space?
That is awesome. Yeah, I hear that. He loves to also when I clean the counter, like at the end of the day, I clean the counter and I use Force of Nature, which is that like you make it at home, it lasts 2
Oh,
weeks. It's
nice.
like H2, it's like a cousin of chlorine.
Yeah.
It's not chlorine. You can use it
Yeah.
anywhere. You can
Yeah.
even use it as hand sanitizer. Super safe for
Nice.
everybody.
Good.
It's called Force of Nature. I've used it forever. But every time he just goes and rolls on it. And is it just because he needs to
Well,
get
and he
his scent
may
back on
also be
there?
remarking it with his
Yeah.
scent. Yes. And the sink too, you have to think, what are they like? Boxes, pet beds that are like this, right? They don't want something flat. The sink is a giant, cool pet bed
Box.
box thing. Yeah, why
Yes.
not? Right. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the counter too. Yeah, I gotta get my scent back on it. I gotta fix this.
Oh my Lord. And I will say, you mentioned that the couch is the perfect, and I did realize that Van Gogh is a vertical scratcher and he likes to start up high. So I found a cat scratcher that is in the shape of a palm tree. So it's
Yeah.
high
I know the one you're talking about. I have that one. I
and
love it. One
he
of my
loves
clients
it.
turned me on to it. Yes, one of my clients turned me on to it, was like, this is it. And I'm like, okay. So yeah.
Because the other ones were too short. The ones I got at Home
Oh,
Goods were too short. So he was like, "Nah." So
so
a
many
little
cat
tip for
scratchers.
those of you who have scratchers, get a
Absolutely.
higher scratcher. They all have their preferences. They all have their things. And I think
Yeah.
it's like you said, it's that playing detective
Yes.
And then they come to you with all that info and they say,
Yes,
this is what
yes,
I've
I need all
noticed.
those pieces. That's why we give a free 15-minute pre-consult with Nicole because she's going to ask all these questions so I am more prepared. And she also will guide people. Sometimes people come in and they're like, I don't know if she can help me. And then Nicole will tell them some horrendous story of what we went through, like the great integration of 2020. And they'll feel a lot better. Like, oh, if you could do that. But yeah, she gets all that info for me and all those little bits of you. Do you have cats outside? Do this, do that, so that I am prepared to make the best use out of my hour and I'm not trying to fish for details. I go in with a plan.
Amazing. All right. So
Yeah.
how can my audience learn about you and contact you if they need your help right now?
Okay. So I am in the process of moving. My website is ready and I'm ready to go, but I am aligning with some amazing people in the cat industry and they have a gag order on me until the 21st. However, I am on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as at the Cat Behaviorist. I am also on Insta. Unfortunately, somebody took it and didn't do anything with it. I want them to give it to me. But so on
Message them. Can you
Instagram, I
DM
know,
them?
right? Can I have this? It's been for a long time and they've got zero posts, not
DM
following
them.
anybody,
DM
nobody's
them.
following now. I should try that.
Yeah.
But so on Insta, I am the_cat behaviorist. So
Okay. Perfect.
please find me on there. Stay tuned because the 21st, once we bust this all out, I will give you the way to get a hold of me, the email address, the website, all the info. And in the meantime,
It's gonna be good. I
it's
already
gonna
know.
be good. She
It's gonna
knows.
be
She
good.
knows. She was. I think you're the only person I was given permission to tell outside of my family members, to be honest. So you should feel pretty good.
Your
That's just so
secret
funny.
is safe with
Yep.
me.
Yep.
Well,
I am
before we
very,
wrap
very
things
excited.
up, then we couldn't answer everything, but Seth wants you to, at some point in the future, debunk some common myths that humans have about cats. So that might be something you attack in your new role, because
Absolutely.
I love myth busting.
Yes.
I think it's fun.
Yes, absolutely. Thank
All
you,
right.
Seth. That's a great idea.
That is a good idea. All
Yes.
right. So I'm going to wrap this up as I always do. I want to propose a toast to you for being my friend, for being so wonderful, for bringing education to the masses about the felines we love so much. Here's to you.
Here's to you. Thank you for having me on because this is what I love. This is what I live for. This is my
I know.
passion. I
I
could
know.
talk about it for years. This hour flew by way too fast.
I know. We could literally do too. I
Oh
also
yeah.
want to propose a toast to our executive producer, Mark Winter. Thank
Yeah.
you, Mark. Because
Yeah. We love
we
Mark. Mark is
actually,
amazing.
that's really how you and I connected, is through Pet
Yeah.
Life Radio.
Yes.
And then our
Because
relationship
my
has
former
evolved.
business partner and I had a podcast there as well. So
Yeah. And actually, is that podcast still accessible for people to listen to now?
I am not positive. It was 19 cats and counting. So go and look and see. It was available
Yeah.
everywhere that it was available. And
I
we had a
don't think Mark
lot
got
of
rid
them
of
in the
it.
bag.
Yeah,
So, okay, good.
I don't think Mark's going to get rid of it. I think we can still
Good.
access old episodes. They
Good.
had such great guests. So
Oh,
you
they're
really,
amazing.
including myself, and you really
Yes.
should go check out 19 Cats and Counting on
Yes.
all of the platforms that you
Yes.
listen to your podcasts on. And I also want to propose a toast to the people who joined us: Lori,
Yes.
Seth, Nicole, everybody on
Yes.
Instagram. Thank you so much for being my guest and for listening in
Thank
today.
you. Anytime, honey.
Thank you. And here's to a life covered in pet hair, because there's no better way to live. Cheers.
Absolutely true. Absolutely.
To learn more about Covered in Pet Hair, please visit coveredinpethair.com or petliferadio.com. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time after the summer, because I got some vacays coming up. But if you want to catch old episodes, I too have episodes, almost 150 at this point.
Amazing.
All over all the podcasting platforms. Just look up Covered in Pet Hair, find what you like. And if you're on YouTube, you can watch the episodes and organize them by cat topics or dog topics in my playlist. So I make it real easy for y'all. So thank you guys for watching again. Thank you, Linda, for being my guest.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
And
Anytime, baby. Anytime.
everybody have a wonderful summer. I will see you in August.
Yes.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.